Welcome back. In this video, I will show you how we can develop this nice looking computer table in SketchUp. What is quite interesting in this episode is how we can build the legs which have nicely rounded edges. Because we will actually experience a limitation in SketchUp quite quickly with this model. And here I'm showing you then how we can circumvent this. Okay, with all that said, let's do it. So here I have a new document. Going to give him a coffee break. We will set the unit system to decimal, and then we will also go to parallel projection, and let's go into the top view. Start with the rectangle. I will go to the center of the world, the origin, and then press the Option key. You see the rectangle then switches into drawing from the center to an edge. And this rectangle has 48 by 28 inches. Since we set this to decimal and inches, I just only type in the numbers. Cool. Okay. The edges have to be rounded. Okay, so this might be a good step. Then go ahead and try rounding this. There we are. I don't necessarily know how big this radius is. So we'll go to Window Entity Info, click on this arc, and then I can change this to 1 inch, 2 inches. 2 inches looks good. Okay, and 24 segments. I can then do the same with the other arcs too. 2 inches, 24. Okay. And as a little trick, I can also shorten work a little bit. You see how I deleted everything else besides this half. Select everything. This is very symmetrical. Copy and paste. And then right click and say flip along the green. Nope. The red. Yes, the red axis. Okay, so I mirrored it. And then this I glue back. There we are. So pretty easy. If I want to be very precise, then I can also remove these 2 segments in between and simply draw in a new clean one. Or you just adjust every corner. Just a little bit of a work tip. Then we can go into a 3-dimensional view and go to the push and pull, and we bring this down by 0.75 of an inch. So 3/4. Very nice. At this point now, we can actually select this whole design, and the top surface should be at a height of 29 inches. So I can go to the world origin, click, and then along the z-axis, bring this up 29 inches. So we have now actually a pretty good looking table. The edges are rounded, but from the side, I would like this to be more chamfered. So what we have here does not necessarily work. So I will double tap on this face and delete this, what I have selected here. Also these vertical edges. There, and then also here this fill place. Because what we are going to do now is we have actually kind of like the parameter of this table seen from the top. And with the follow me command under tools, follow me, I can run a profile along it. So let's draw this profile. On any edge, this one or here, I need to find where the midpoint is. And then I draw a line down, 0.25. along the z-axis. Now that's important. And then another segment, 0.5 of an inch. Cool. I have two segments important to keep in mind. With nothing selected, I can go to move, select this endpoint along the x-axis. So it has to be red. I move this by 1 inch. Sure, look at this, no? And then I can draw this over and see, yeah, there it is. Cool. There's actually now my profile, and this profile, as you can see now, I can simply zip around and create this, yeah, kind of like detail. Obviously the tabletop is missing, so I will select the top face, select this inner face, delete each, double click on this ring here, the inner loop, delete it. And to fill in the rest, I can simply draw a line between edge to edge at the bottom and also on top. It doesn't really matter where to where. You see, SketchUp then understands, oh, we want to fill this because it's a planar surface. Yeah, look at this. There's actually now our tabletop. That wasn't too complicated. To make sure nothing will get glued onto it, we select everything, right click, make a group. Cool. Okay. Now we would like to create the frame that sits under the tabletop. The problem, however, is when we take a look from the front, yeah, on there we have an edge, but here we do not have any edge. And this frame should be from this outer edge be 1.5 inches to the inside. So what can we do? Well, we simply on top along the y-axis here create a guideline, 2.5 inches, not 1.5. There and there too, 2.5. And then these edges, profiles, I can select, go to move, and I simply move them down along the z-axis by exactly 0.75. So they're now sitting right under it. That's a very simple, kind of like I would say, drafting method we are using here. So if we look now from the bottom, we have actually the guidelines. And the guidelines will be very useful because, well, we can simply draw a rectangle onto this guide system we have. This is now the outer edge of the pipe construction, square stock. We can use the offset command and create an offset by 1.5 inches. Go to select the inner face, delete it. Go to push and pull, and then we extrude this down by 1/2 inch. Triple click everything, right click and say make group. So it's locked. These guidelines are now redundant, so we throw them out. The next step is to draw in a nice corner piece. And from this corner here to where the corner piece starts, I would like to have 3 inches. So how do we do this? This looks kind of complicated, but look at this. I can draw here simply a line along Y, 3 inches, thank you, and press escape. And then I draw a line here along X, 3 inches, press OK, and then now I need to figure out where is actually this end line. There. Okay. Alternatively, we can also pull down a guideline one way and a guideline the other way, each one 3 inches. And then I can draw the line and the guidelines I don't need anymore. Here in this case, whoops, obviously not with this frame, so I'm hiding this for the moment. I have to delete then these two lines. So I have these corner lines left. They're actually now 45 degree, so this is perfect. From this line, I need a parallel line. Easy thing to do. I use the tape measurement to plug down a guideline and on this face, and I do this kind of like parallel to it, 1.5 inches. Sure. And then all I need is, with the line tool, wherever everything intersects, start drawing this. Push and pull up to the correct height. So I don't even punch in 0.5, I just snap to the face, triple click, make group. And here, then this I can delete. I also delete this one, since we have a copy here. So I make a copy with the move command. So I pressed the Alt Option key. Then, yeah, this needs to be rotated 90 degrees. And then, yeah, we need to line this one up. So this corner point on this edge, and then this corner point, yeah, so this is the y-axis. So I press the left arrow key and make it snap onto this edge here. There, now it's connected. Pretty good. Okay. Option key, make a copy, right click. This is now flip along red. Yep. And then here, I snap this corner point on this edge. And then this corner point, this is the x-axis. So I will press the right arrow key and move this along the x-axis till it snaps onto that edge. Pretty cool. If I would like to, I can select all these 5 elements, right click and put them into one group so they are nested. So now I have the tabletop and the metal frame that's under it. Okay, now that wasn't too complicated. It's pretty much very simplistic drafting and geometry. And everything what I showed is just one or two different ways. There are ultimately many different ways how you can approach modeling something like this. Now we would like to build actually the leg, and that sounds a little bit complicated to do because the leg has to be at a 45-degree angle. But also here, this is pure geometry, quite simple. So check this out. I fortunately have an endpoint. So on this endpoint, I can start drawing a line onto this line here till it hits the midpoint. Perfect. Then I continue drawing along the z-axis. So I press the up arrow key till I hit the ground. So now I have the height. Press escape. Do the same here and connect. Now I have actually a rectangular face that is perfectly drafted 45 degrees from there to there. See? Actually quite easy. I will continue also now putting in some details. So for example, from here down, this should be 2 inches, so the height. And where this point is, that is fine, but this point should be right under this, yeah, how could I say that, rounded corner element. So I will try to see. So I would like to create a guideline, but this, yeah, this guideline should go at 45 degrees. How do we do this? Easy. Check this out. So I will do a guideline from this edge, but now I'm using this other guideline as a helper. And there it looks like pretty much, it's a little bit eyeballed, but it's very close to that position. Can select this line and move this maybe to here, move this back, get this a little bit closer. Yeah, okay, that was pretty good. Now look at this, I could even from this midpoint draft a line down. There, and straight Z down, clock. There you see there how I use basically the start of the arc and the midpoint and then 45° to draft this one out to find this. No, it's if you want to be really super precise. And then this we just attach to this line. Very good. Now this guideline I would like to hide. So I right click and say hide it, and then this line and this line and this line I delete. These were just helpers. And then I go unhide and show this. Cool. Okay. So one way was a little bit more eyeballed. The other method you saw I just used this rounded part quarter arc, found the center point of the circle, and then 45° drafted out a line. So with that done, what I can do now is I will bring a guideline down onto the ground. Pretty nice. And then say, well, this point, that should be right there. And now from here backwards, that should be 1.5 inches. Now I have another snap point. So this end point of the line goes to there. This way, as you can see, I also maintain that this surface remains totally flat. Cool. Okay. I can draft a line down there and a line maybe to there. And then this here I will erase. And we can now specify this length. Also here, again, I just use a guideline, and then here actually plots it out from the midpoint perpendicular, or I could use this guideline. So like 3 inches, that possibly looks good. Then this we can move to there and zoom out a little bit. Pay attention to, yeah, this looks actually not too bad. It's maybe a little bit too thick. So what about we move this point by another 1/2 inch? It still gets smaller to the ground. Here it's a little bit wider. So this is actually quite nice. To help with the visibility, as you see, I removed all the guidelines. Now, this inner corner is a little bit sharp. So from this edge to this edge, I draft an arc. Now I have to go back to my entity info, and this I would like to be 1 inch. And we can set this to 12 or 24. I will keep this at 12 so it runs pretty fast in SketchUp. So the basic layout of this lag at this point actually is finished. Now we need to do the thickness. So 0.75 one direction, 0.75 the other direction, so 1.5 inch material thickness. Yeah, no, there it is. Actually pretty good. We could say 0.25 and 0.25. I'm suggesting the left and right movement to maybe make this a little bit thinner. Now we can take a look at this, how this feels just with 1 inch. Undo, undo, 1.5 inch, redo, redo, 1 inch. And this is kind of like a very easy way how to explore material thicknesses, etc. We can make this a little bit thick so it has a good volume, doesn't look too flimsy. Now I will select everything, right click, and turn this into a group. So the leg is actually kind of done, we could say. So here is one suggestion and tip. For the modeling, we could say this is done. We have all the important details, this inner arc, same like with the table, this outer edge is rounded, and then here from the side, this has a chamfer, this is all good. Tiny fillets, like rounding these edges, we don't really do because while we can sometimes do this, there are limits to how SketchUp can do it. And another reason why maybe not to do this always is fillets can be very expensive, slowing down a model. And when we render something in a render program, we can tell the software to take edges and render them like they're rounded for us. So we can simplify the geometry. That makes applying textures easier. This will really make a lot of sense once we go into rendering. And then you will see how easy it is to texture, glue an image onto this face, and this face, because we do not have to deal with the rounded edges. So with that said, however, can we round this edge? I will select this leg and make myself a copy and go to the site. Okay, cool. Then I will go into edit group, select this face, and you don't necessarily have to do what I'm doing right now. You can just pay attention to what will happen because SketchUp will fail here. So there I have now an arc, that's good. And there I have an arc too. So I'm going to select this face and then with the push and pull, yeah, look, we can cut this away. Clean and beautiful. And when I select this and go over to there, yeah, what's going on here? Please continue. Yeah, can't do this. So welcome to the limits of SketchUp. In many aspects, SketchUp is very easy to learn because it's also quite limited in its functionality. There are extensions we could buy to round these edges, but for students, I don't make you to buy it. It's also good to learn how to know how to model this actually, so you do not have to deal with extensions. But first, let's explain why does this work here and not there. First is this face and this face. They are actually parallel, and that's the reason why we can draw this arc and then extrude and cut. But this face and this face, they are at different angles. They're not parallel, and there SketchUp instantly will fail. So what can we do? The solution is actually pretty simple. You see, I did an undo, and now I would like everybody to continue doing what I'm doing. So this lower edge here, so this inner and this inner, I would like to round. I'm going to draw two arcs. Before I do this, I'm going to create a guideline on this face by 1/4 inch. This helps me to know the height, and then I can very easily find the tangency point. There and there. Very good. Now, this I will connect. There. Very good. Then this I draw over. This I draw over. Then I draw down. This I draw down. Oh, look at this. It found it. And if it's all good, then you will find actually, or you will get a perfectly solid filled face. If you do not get a filled face, look to the side. It might be that a line is off, so it's not planar. Okay, so we can use this with the follow me command, but we have nothing to follow me because there is no guideline. So I'm redrawing this guideline. There is the start of the arc. So from there to there, I drew a line, and then from the end of the arc down to here, I draw a line. I'm going to hide this lag right now, so you see what I'm doing, and then double click. We put in the quarter arc, and you saw the quarter arc also, if you do this correctly, is magenta, so tangent. Perfect. So this now, rip, I simply run across it. Sure. That's it. You see, actually quite easy. This whole piece, I right click and say make group. So it's locked. I will show everything again. Now we have to do the same here. The problem is I do not have a planar face I can draw onto. This is an angle. Yeah, how do we do this? That's actually easy. I will create myself here a rectangle on this face. You see that now? And then with this rectangle from the midpoint, you see this is magenta, so this is perpendicular to it. And there, this is perpendicular. And look, here actually it found the other point. And I can connect this. I'm going to hide this leg. So we have this. Let's see if I draw a line. There, it's filled. Very good. So now I have actually a rectangle that is on it. How can we always do things easier? I just realized we could also just draw a rectangle like this. Then go to rotate. Maybe, let's see, we need to figure out the correct axis. Yeah, see, in this case, it's actually not as easy. I was just thinking, well, we could rotate it, but now because this line is at an angle, we would need to find an axis for the rotation. So there are, yeah, you see sometimes some issues with the SketchUp tools too. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Anyway, we can remove everything we don't need anymore. Cool. So you start getting an idea of actually what we are going to do here now. I can also here add now a construction line on this face, 1/4 of an inch, no, really on it. And then from this corner point to there, double click, from there to there, double click, and then back and back. Now the tricky thing is, yeah, where is, so this is perpendicular to this edge. Yeah, is this correct? Let's see. Whoops. Yeah, it's not. No, so trust is good, control is better. So this didn't really work. I'm glad actually with this hiccup. Yeah, how do we get this done? Again, because we have a face here, it's really easy. I can now, yeah, I think so. On this face, I can bring a line, but then the moment it's off the face, yeah, it's horizontal again. Wah, wah. I need a ray to help me, and here it is. I'm just making this guideline on this face, and then I make a guideline along this line. So this now actually truly will be at an angle. There, and then can clean this up, for example. There. Remove all this. Ta-da. This can go. There you see now. This is nice and flat. Very good. I will go to unhide all. Bring this up. And then the lower section I bring down. I built this a little bit longer, top and bottom. That's actually called overbuilding. And triple click, make group. And I noticed here I have to do this overbuilding. So I make this a little bit longer. Overbuilding helps the software knowing where do these volumes really intersect or overlap. There, cool. Okay, very good. So one group, one group, one group. What we have now basically is a raw geometry for the leg, and then we have shapes which we can remove from this raw piece. And it's a little bit borrowing the idea from a woodshop when you work with a router. The router has a profile, and we just trim the wood piece, the corner or the edge with that router. So what we can do now is this, for example, is a good piece. We will keep this as a copy. In case we would want to go back and modify these details, then we always have the raw source. And now we will go to solid tools, subtract, and say the tool from the target and the tool from the target. So that's the sequence. Yeah, look at this. It's actually quite beautiful. Now there's an interesting line which we can remove. There was a little bit of a leftover from the follow me command. There are some lines here. We can fix this, right click, and then say soften smooth, soften coplanar. They're done. Very good. Okay, so this one now we delete. And this I would like to position. Bring this closer. And then I go here, midpoint onto midpoint. There we are. Very easy. Let's make a copy. Then right click, flip, that's the incorrect direction. There. And then midpoint to midpoint. Yeah. Select both. Make a copy. Right click and yep, there we are. And then this midpoint we bring onto this midpoint. Yeah. Very nice. We can go to the outliner. There we have all the individual groups. We could, for example, select all this, make this a group, and then this group we can call lag raw, just as a backup. Then the legs we can put into a group legs there. And this is tabletop. Can select all this, make this a group, and then we can call this PC table or work table. So we have the individual groups nested, legs together, the metal frame together, the tabletop alone, and then all this together is in one group. Grouping this all together is very useful because we would like to insert this into a scene or somewhere else. It's just one object, one group to select instead of having all these objects to select and then move at the same time. Yeah. And that's it. That's basically the process how you can very easily sculpt something like a leg here, which is not symmetrical like a cube, and then add rounded edges for it. They do look nicer. Now you can see this quality here. This is actually quite beautiful. Now I would like to finish this to show you how we can finish actually the tabletop. So I will select this group here, make a copy, and paste, bring this group to the side. And then this group I drag out. So you see I was able to pull this out. Very good. Maybe line this up a little bit, this one to there. So it's all perfectly positioned over each other. Pretty nice. Good. Thank you. Then right click and say explode. This top face I delete, this bottom face I delete. And then where's the midpoint? There's the midpoint there. And from here straight up. So you see I'm retracing a midsection going line by line or drawing a line from midpoint to midpoint. And what I'm showing you is also a good process to do when you finished the exploring the design and now you want to really add tiny extra final details to it. So here I'm deleting all this, triple clicking to select all these rings. So you see how I cleaned everything up. It's actually quite nice. Very good. So this will be rounded and this will be rounded. Oh, and this will be rounded. So here I need to extend this a little bit. Very good. Like this. Good. Then I can draw an arc. Segments SketchUp tells us now is problematic. So options plus minus, I have to lower the option, the amount of segments. So option and minus. So now you see I have like not really many. Triple click and then I do the same here. Triple click. Let's select this segment, go to entity info, maybe 6. Yeah, 6 works. 10. Yeah, 10 already is too much. 8. Welcome to the limitations of SketchUp. 6 again. It really struggles with rounded edges when they are tiny. And here we can do a bigger one. Because this is our bigger distance. I shouldn't have said that. I wanted to say we can make this a tick bigger. And this we can remove. No? Very good. And then, yeah, we do exactly the same thing. We select this profile. And then just simply run it across it. It is also good practice if you want to do this type of a detail, to do this detail only at the end, because then you, how could I say that? You work more efficiently, because if you need to change something at the beginning, it's a very simple model you need to adjust or rebuild. And if you spend a lot of time on rebuilding something nicely, yeah, it's more time to correct. So it's a matter of working time-wise efficient. Can we delete maybe this edge? Maybe this edge I delete. Triple click. Now you see here I'm trying to select the line. Whoops. And the edges. So I'm cleaning this up a little bit. Very good. Then here, sometimes some triple clickings. One last there. And there. Very good. Then we can select everything, right click, make a group, hide it. And then there's this previous profile now we can delete. Very good. Yeah, show all, so unhide everything. And now here we have this new group. So this, for example, we can call tabletop final if we want to. There's my PC table. This I drag in now, so it's inside the group. And here we call this tabletop raw. And for example, I drag this one out of the group. Obviously here I have to drag it onto there. So we have like individual pieces. Sure. There's now also the tabletop that is rounded. And we can see, actually looks really cool. It's good to do at the end. But as you see, in the method I approached, it's best really to do this at the end because it's a little bit more time consuming. And when you explore ideas, proportions, this edge rounding is not something you want to be bothered with. But like I showed you with the tabletop, we can always add this then afterwards quite easily. Yeah, and that's it.